Hello, can you hear me? I'm ready to begin. You guys can hear me? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up and say, I could hear you. I could hear you, Joe. You sound amazing. But only say that if you could hear me. If you can't hear me, don't say that. What a great day it is. We're all going to be so smart when this is done. Okay. So today we're doing property ownership. Such a fun topic. Who could tell me what are the bundle of rights? Carmen, I'm excited you're here. That's how I feel about that. Ken Peterson from South Bend. Irish. Okay, what are the bundle of rights? See a lot of metaphors. Up T, DC. What are they? The right to use, possess, encumber, dispose, do all the things you want with it because it's your property. It's your property and you can do whatever you want. You have the bundle of rights. And when you do something wrong, you lose one of those rights. Who could tell me the difference between real property and personal property? Anybody? 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 Who could tell me the difference between real property and personal property? Real is movable, personal property is immovable. Oh, did I say that backwards? I think I did. Real is immovable, personal property is movable. But is that always the case? What do you guys think? Is that always the case? Is real property always immovable? What do you guys think? No! Latoya says no. Give me an example of real property that you could pick up and move. I would like you guys to give me an example of real property that you could pick up and move. Jorge says crops, for example. Jorge studied. He's getting fancy. He's talking about those emblements. Way to go, Jorge. Cheat off his paper if you can. No, don't cheat. Unless you're good at it. No, don't do that. Okay, a pool cover. Nice job, Jane. A pool cover because it goes with the property. Personal property is things that are movable. Can you guys give me an example of personal property that you can't move? Why are you guys all writing dentist chair? A dentist chair is personal property, not real property. But since I ask, a dentist chair is a great example of personal property you can't move because personal property is bolted to the floor. So I know you guys learned that personal property is movable, real property is immovable, but the better way to remember this is personal property goes with the person, real property goes with the real estate. Everybody got that? Write that down. Personal property goes with the person, real property goes with the real estate. Because the true significance of this is when you sell the property, you know what goes with the property and what doesn't based upon if it's personal or real. That's personal. It's mine. It's personal to me. I'm taking it with me. It's not part of the property. Everybody got it? Right? Got it, Joe. Got it. So don't get confused with that when you're taking your exam. Okay. Let's go to the board. By the way, if you guys didn't know this, that highlight means you could click on it. How many of you guys didn't know that? When you look at the Prep Agent website, when you see something's highlighted, it means it's clickable and the definition comes up. How many of you guys were like, I was wondering why there was like yellow on my screen? You're trying to rub it off on your screen like, that means you could click on it. Okay, so let's go to the question. Which of the following liens usually would give highest priority in dispersing funds from a foreclosure sale? A judgment rendered the day before foreclosure. B, a mechanic's lien for work started before the mortgage was made. C, a mortgage dated last year. Or D, unpaid real estate property taxes. The answer is D, taxes. What is a lien? Who could tell me what a lien is? Who could tell me what a lien is? Lien is money owed. Lien money, 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 lien money. Money lien, money lien, money lien, money lien, money lien, money lien. Is an easement a lien? Is an easement a lien? Congratulations, Fernanda. You're the best. An easement is not a lien. It doesn't have to do with money. It is an encumbrance, much like a lien is an encumbrance, but it is not a lien. Liens go into two categories. Who could tell me what they are? Liens are separated into two categories. What are those two categories? By the way, the fan's on here. If that's bothering anybody, I could turn it off. I like sweat, but, you know, why shouldn't I be comfortable? But if the noise of the fan's bothering me, I could turn it off. Okay, so liens go into two categories. General and specific. Yeah, I guess you could say voluntary and involuntary as well. Voluntary being ones you want. Involuntary means you don't want. Example of a voluntary lien would be like if you get a loan. But the ones I'm talking about now is general and specific. What is the difference between a general and a specific lien? Let's see who's been studying. What is the difference between a general and specific lien? Anybody? 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 Nice job, Lourdes Rosario. Congratulations. A general means if you don't pay, they can take everything. Specific means if you don't pay, they can take one thing specifically. I would like you guys in the chat to write an example of a general lien. Give me an example of a general lien. Who could give me an example of a general lien? Judgment lien. Nice job, Jennifer Garcia. Judgment lien would be example when you lose a court case. That would be an example of a general lien. They could take everything. Taxes. Oh, Carmen says taxes. That's tricky. Why is it tricky? Why are taxes tricky? Who knows? Who could tell me why taxes are tricky? Not to show my age, whenever I say the word tricky, I think of that Rum DMC song. Children of the 80s knows exactly what I'm talking about. Property taxes is a specific lien. Income tax is a general lien. So be very careful on what type of taxes they're talking about. Okay, moving right along. Mary owns a parcel of land and is trying to show that exceptional circumstances exist that justify using the land in a way that's prohibited by current zoning laws. Her intended use would not be detrimental to the public. She'd probably petition the Planning Commission for a building permit, B, rezoning agreement, C, variance, or D, redevelopment permit. Variance. A variance is an exception to the rule that will not affect the rest of the community. So Mary has an exceptional circumstance. So that's why she's writing this. And it's important that it says would not be detrimental to the public. Okay? So it can't affect anybody else. That's called a variance. Now, when we talk about variances and zonings and building permits, we get into something called the government powers. What are the 4 government powers that you studied when trying to pass the real estate exam? Who knows? Anybody? 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 I see people writing the acronym PETE. Don't get too caught up in these acronyms. I say fixture, people are like, Maria, Pete, Maria, tip, blah, blah. It's like, what does it stand for? I don't know. I just know Maria, tip, blah, blah. Maria and Pete are not going to be on your exam. How many of you guys just memorized a bunch of acronyms and are not exactly sure what they're all about? You just like have them in your head. Stud, dust, Maria, tip, I don't know, Pete. Pete stands for police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. I love tricks to help learn stuff, but sometimes, guys, and you may find this yourself, agree or disagree, learning these tricks take just as much time as learning the actual word. Sometimes it's not that difficult to learn the word, and people try and get all these memory techniques and acronyms and poems and songs, but sometimes it's just learn the word. You'll be fine. Kind of like when I say, how big is an acre? What are you guys going to say? How big is an acre? 43,560 square feet. So many people are like, flip the first 2, 7-Eleven, 4 men, 4 old ladies going 30 miles an hour down a 56 mile an hour, blah, 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 blah. It's like, just remember 42,560 square feet. It's easier. Am I right or am I right? Okay, so going back to our government powers, you have police power and eminent domain. It's very important you guys understand the difference between the two. What is the big difference between police power and eminent domain? What is the difference between police power and eminent domain? Nice job, Naughty. Compensation. Money. Money, 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 money. Money. Eminent domain involves money. Police power does not. Eminent domain, they have the right to take your property through the process called, who knows? Who knows? What's that process called? Anybody? It's in your real estate exam books. If you don't know it, you're going to fail and you'll cry. No, you won't. No, you won't. I'm just kidding. It's called condemnation. Good. Condemnation. What does it mean when a property is condemned? You can't use it anymore, right? When something's condemned, or when anything's condemned for that matter, what does it mean? It means you can't use it. Condemnation means the property's condemned, you can't use it. And for that, they give you money so they can put their highway through your living room or whatever it may be they want to do. Everybody got that? Just compensation must be paid. What happens if they do not pay you the just compensation that you deserve for that property? Who knows? Kind of a double or nothing question here. What happens if they do not pay you the just compensation that you deserve for that property? Carmen says the owner can sue. That is called inverse condemnation. Great job. Terrence was the first one on the board with that one. Inverse condemnation. You're literally suing the government. Police power does not take the property away from you. They just tell you how to use it. Okay? Can you guys give me examples of police power as it pertains to your real estate exam? Can you guys give me an example of police power as it pertains to your real estate exam? Zoning, building codes, rent control, excellent. Which brings me to why I brought this up, because we're talking about zoning laws and a variance on the board, which led us to the conversation about government powers. Because police power is a zoning law, and a variance would grant you an exception to said zoning law. Everybody got that? So police power, they don't take it away from you, they tell you how to use it. Eminent domain, they take it away from you. Now the other two police powers, taxation, which we spoke about, you had general liens and, taxes could be general or specific, voluntary, involuntary, things of that nature. And escheat, what is escheat? What is escheat? Who knows? What is escheat? It's when you die without a will and the government takes it over. Kind of if you're like Ebenezer Scrooge. If you don't know that reference, then you don't love Christmas. Okay, Ebenezer Scrooge, he didn't have family, didn't have a will, nothing. So his property would have escheated to the state if the ghosts of past, present, and future didn't come in. Which of the following methods of creating an easement would result in an easement which could most easily be terminated for non-use? A, express reservation in a deed. B, implication of law. C, prescriptive use. D, a valid quitclaim deed from the current owner. Answer is prescriptive use. Good. How many of you guys, when they go take their exam, have the flight of the bumblebee in your head? If you guys don't know what the flight of the bumblebee means, that's that song goes. It's like, it means you're stressed. It means like you're feeling a lot of anxiety and you're stressed and everything's going way fast. Like, gotta find a way to relax. Those of you who played sports, probably techniques to relax when it's a pressure situation. Deep breaths, close your eyes. I don't want to get too much into this now, but I just want to give my tip on relaxing before, because it could get stressful. You guys need to, before you take your exam, or if you're in the middle of your exam and you're feeling stressed, deep breath, close your eyes, breathe in and out, inhala, exhala, inhala, exhala. It sounds ridiculous, but it works. Like you take a minute or two to just kind of control your thoughts. Maybe we'll do another little class on it another time, but I just want you guys to know you're not alone if you feel stress, and there are techniques to help you kind of calm your heart rate down and just kind of be able to focus a little bit. Hopefully that was helpful. Sorry if I went on a tangent there. Back to the focus. Two men are co-owners in a fee simple of a small office building. One of the men dies intestate and leaves nothing to be distributed to his heirs. The surviving owner is neither related to the deceased owner nor his creditor. What would explain how the surviving owner acquired the deceased owner's interest in the office building? What do you guys think? Remainder interest, joint tenancy, reversionary interest, or adverse possession? Joint tenancy. Okay. There's two ways you could own property. Who knows what they are? What are the two ways you could own property? What are the two ways you could own property? Anybody? You go on it by yourself or with other people. Pretty simple. What does it mean when you own a property by yourself? Nice job, Drizz Games. I feel like if you have the username handle Drizz Games, you are into music or you play video games excessively. Severalty means you are by yourself. Concurrent means you're with somebody else. Okay? Give me examples of concurrent estates. Concurrent estates. What? Can you guys give me types of concurrent estates? So severalty is just one. There's only one way you can own it by yourself. Joint tenancy and tenancy in common. Excuse me. Don't worry. Wearing a mask. So joint tenancy means you have rights of time, title, interest, and possession. Tenancy in common has one of those things. Which one? So joint tenancy has the four unities of time, title, interest, and possession. Tenancy in common has which one of those four? Possession. Terrence Mack has been studying. I can tell already. Terrence, you got this. So, tenancy in common just has possession. Joint tenancy is time, title, interest, and possession. Okay, the four unities. There's another difference between those two things, tenancy in common, joint tenancy. And that would be something called the right of survivorship. Which one has the right of survivorship? Which one has the right of survivorship? Joint tenancy is the right of survivorship. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means if you die, the other owners get it. They have the right of survivorship. So you can't will it to your heirs because the other owners have that right. In tenancy in common, you would will it to your heirs. But you can. You don't have to, but you can. Everybody got that? So you have the right of survivorship with a joint tenancy. Good job, everybody. Which one would you take with a corporation? Joint tenancy or tenancy in common? So if you were taking property with not Joe, but Prep Agent, which is a corporation, would you take it as a joint tenant or a tenant in common? Tenant in common, because you can't have a right of survivorship because corporations don't die. Excellent, everybody. Good job. Of indefinite duration is a characteristic which is particularly descriptive of an A, estate less than freehold, B, estate for years, C, estate inheritance, or D, estate from period to period. Nice job, Mike. You did it. You deserve all the credit. And that's awesome. Okay, the answer is estate of inheritance. Okay. So you have freehold estates and less than freehold estates. Less than freehold estates generally are what you would call leases. Freehold estates is ownership. The top level of the freehold estate is what's called an estate in fee, also known as an estate in inheritance, also known as a fee simple absolute. And that's what we're looking at here, indefinite in duration, because the other three are types of less than freehold estates. So can you guys write down for me the 4 types of less than freehold estates you will see on your real estate exam? You have, on the less than freehold estate, you have estate for years, periodic tenancy, estate at will, and estate at sufferance. Estate for years for a definite period of time. Estate at will means it can end at any time. Periodic tenancy means it's reoccurring. Estate at sufferance means somebody should have left, like a deadbeat tenant. Can I just tell you how much I love these webinars, and when I'm having a downtime, doing these really picks me up. I just want to say thank you, everybody, because it means a lot to me, the positivity I get. We were really scared doing this. I was when I started, because you get so many trolls on the internet who say bad things, and toxicity in politics, and people are angry at each other all the time. But when you do something like this, everybody has the same goal. Nobody cares about your politics. Nobody cares where you're from, what you look like, how you sound, what you eat, anything. We're all here for the same goal. And if you guys look in the chat, even today, not one person had a negative thing to say about anybody else. Not a single person. And this happens all the time. And it's just so, I don't know, it's really nice to experience and be a part of when everybody's trying to help each other. And we've had people answer things wrong, say answers that were just far off in the chat today, but not a single person was negative when that happened. In fact, if you look at our chat, we have people try to give each other advice, support each other. So I just want to thank everybody who attends these and maintains that positivity, because it really makes me feel like I've had some positive contribution, and that matters to me. So thank you, everybody. Okay, so let's move on. Can you guys hear me? Or did my computer freeze? Can you guys still hear me? Okay, so my questions froze, but I didn't. So I'm going to continue teaching without my questions. I apologize for that. So we talked a lot about eminent domain, joint tenancy, tenancy in common. And we started to get into less than freehold estates with the types. Let's relate to that when we talk about types of leases, because that is also very relevant to this section on property ownership. What are the different types of leases you learned when studying for your exam? What are the different types of leases you learned when studying for your exam? Gross lease, net lease, percentage lease, and some of you learned something called a sandwich lease. If you've never heard of a sandwich lease, don't worry about it. It's just a fancy word for subletting. It means the lessor is also the lessee. The lessor is also the lessee. Okay? Now, out of those leases, which is the most common? What does your average tenant usually do? Do they do a gross lease, a percentage lease, a net lease, or a sandwich lease? The average person does something called a gross lease, means there's a set amount of pay. Okay. Janice, you're referring to a net lease or a net listing? Check that. You said net lease are illegal in New Jersey. Check if they're talking about a net lease or net listing. Leticia says, can you break down the difference between a percentage lease and a net lease? Sure, no problem. So a percentage lease means that you are going to pay your rent based upon the amount of money that's coming in. So you would see this like in strip malls or something of that nature, where a shoe store maybe is paying a rent amount to the owner of the strip mall, so their payment is based upon how successful the shoe store is. Almost like somewhat of a partnership with the owner of the mall to make sure the parking is good, everything's clean, everything of that nature. A net lease just means that the tenant is paying for tax, insurance, maintenance. Jamie says, is that the same as triple net? As far as I know, yes. If not, the concept is the same, and I believe it is. And that just means the tenant is paying for tax, insurance, and maintenance. You don't see this very often with residential. Frankly, I've never seen it with residential. This is more of a concept for commercial real estate. So hopefully that helps with the difference between those four. It is very important. The difference between a gross lease, a net lease, a percentage lease, and subletting. Now, do not forget the OREE rule. When I said the sandwich lease, subletting, the lessor is also the lessee, I use that OREE rule. What is the OREE rule? Who knows? Who knows what the OREE rule is? Okay, I'm going to sing a song. A one, 2, 3. Lessor, vendor, optionor, grantor, the giver, the proprietor for your pleasure. Lessee, vendee, optionee, grantee, give me property, makes me happy. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you take your exam and you're like, lessor, vendor, woo, you're going to be thrilled. OR is the giver. EE, receives. Everybody got that? OR gives. It's a suffix. Santa Claus is the giftor. The kids are the giftees. They receive. Okay? So, are there any exceptions to this rule? Are there any exceptions to the OREE rule? No. No, thank you, Blanca. No. Some of you wrote mortgage or mortgagee. It is not an exception. And the reason people think that's an exception is they think a mortgagor receives money, and I understand that. But when you take out a mortgage, what happens before you receive the money? What do you guys think? What happens before you receive the money? What happens before you receive the money? Come on, guys. Let's see it in the chat. You have to give that promissory note, that evidence of the debt. Somebody said, please explain trustor, trustee. It's the same concept. The trustor, in order to receive money from the bank, they have to give a promissory note to the trustee. The mortgagor has to give that promissory note to the mortgagee, who's the bank. And then money is lent out. Does everybody get that? So there's no exception. You just got to remember the process of things. And it makes sense because I'm not giving you money for nothing. You got to give me something. And that thing is the evidence of the debt. That promissory note which says if you don't pay me, I could take that property, which is typically the evidence of the debt, which is why I have appraisals and all this stuff. What I'm trying to do is put into context a lot of things you guys learn, because a lot of people who are studying, you learn a lot of words and concepts, but they don't make sense because it's in very legalese in your textbook, or you have some teacher who goes in some riff explaining about how when he sold a house with a cat and a dog in the alley and blah, blah, blah. But I want to just simplify this. So when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, I know what these words mean now. So that's my goal during these webinars. Hopefully I'm successful. If not, I'll try another day, that much harder. Okay. Are we all there? Okay. Sorry, I didn't know if I lost everybody. Okay, another part of the property ownership section we need to know is this thing called a fixture. What's the metaphor for a fixture? Not metaphor, wrong word. Acronym for a fixture. Maria, good. And Maria stands for method, adaptability, relationship, intention, and agreement. Method, adaptability, relationship, intention, and agreement. Method, how it's attached. Adaptability is like the pool covering example we spoke about before. If you guys remember, I said what type of real property can you move? Somebody said a pool covering. Relationship is the relation of the parties, intentions, why it's there, and the agreement is the most important part. Usually on the second page of your purchase contract, you write things that come with and don't. That's that agreement part that tests what is a fixture. And a fixture is things that are incorporated into the land, personal property that is now considered real property. Well, guys, I hope that helped today. If you want the answers to your exam, don't worry. I'm feeling in a good mood. I'll just give it to you. Just write to me at I will not give you the answers, you cheater.com. What? I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Don't PayPal me. Say, Joe, what's your PayPal? I'll give you the money. Just give me the answers. Quick, do it. No. How many of you guys were actually writing that down? Like, wait, really? Okay, Joe at, no. Then if your kids tell you, Mom, Dad, I got the answer to the exam, you're like, what? How dare you? You have to study. But you tried to get the answers. Stop it. I need to pass and pay for your food. So that is that today. I hope you guys had an amazing day. Yes, please give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. It's right next to that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you believe this webinar was helpful. And with that being said, I will see you guys soon. Have an amazing day, everybody. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks, Ava. You guys can find me on Instagram if you want at Joe Juter. Just look up this. That's my name on Instagram, Joe Juter. Thanks, everybody. Bye. How do I turn this off? I'm becoming a senior citizen. Where's that button? Ugh, I can't make fun of my mother anymore for not knowing how to turn off Zoom. This is so embarrassing. There it is. Okay.